Back to the Terrace Top 6, ladies and gentlemen. What a show, what a panel we have got for you tonight. Very, very excited indeed. Special guest to be introduced straight away. You all know who he is. One of the most legendary content creators on the planet. James Redmond is here with us. How you doing, bro?
On the channel. Big up to everyone who's tuned in. Be sure to smash a like and subscribe as always. And now I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a good one.
It is. Two big previews to go through tonight. We've got the North London derby, which will come up second. There's Chelsea versus Manchester City as well. So huge talking points today. We're going to touch on Man United, Liverpool a little bit later on in the show as well. But as you said, everybody smash that like button for us. Subscribe. We've also got a little bit of a special tonight, courtesy of our sponsors, Bet Victor. There is an official Football Terrace special offer on the website right now. The link is in the description. It's my pick. It's my pick bet, but we'll cover that later on when we're talking about the North London derby. But also here with us tonight, Jess is here backing Arsenal in a game which probably one of the first times this season they felt like they could really, really win and do damage. Great record, irrespective of their position in the North London derby. Patrick is here, ready to try and tell us how Nuno's going to get his team to score goals and not concede. Daniel's here back in Chelsea. And by the way, another thing I've got Bet Victor to add, I want to see if Daniel's going to back this later. Bet Victor have now, courtesy of the Football Terrace, added a market on Chelsea to go unbeaten in the Premier League. They didn't exist before our show. We made them create it. And Man City fan, I've been searching all day for a Man City fan, and we managed to find one who's there on the set of People Just Do Nothing. It's Man Like Daps. How you doing, bro? You good?
I'm good.
Good setup.
There's not many of us. Is there? There's not many of us.
No, it's you and Rocking Horse shit. Just like very, very hard to find and come by. But it's good to have you on the show. It's good. And we're going to start off with that game first of all. But I want to do some comments first of all from the viewers. What's being said here today? Abs here says City, Villa, Liverpool, Spurs. They're the winners this weekend.
Right, I like this guy.
Absolutely. Man like Jamu is what Samuel's got to say here. I assume he's talking about you, James.
Jamu. Oh, Jamu. Oh, that's a new one. Hey, something my mate's going on there. I've been called James. I've been called James. But Jamu is most certainly new. But listen,
yeah, it's true.
Yeah?
So Terry, I like it. Terry, you're not wearing a cap. I don't always wear a cap. I'm not. Even though I am having a hair transplant, I'm not that embarrassed about the hairline. Do you know what I mean? When you are as good looking as me, you do not need to be embarrassed about.
I know. Like that.
It's true. No, it's cool. I'm a very good looking man. I know it. I absolutely know it. My mum tells me, my kids tell me. Like, I know. If Freya don't, Freya keeps telling me now 2 weeks. She keeps going, Daddy, why don't you grow your hair back? I don't like this. I'm like, wow, blunt. We have a super chat here that says this man had the audacity to call Ronaldo a diver. Yet this man has gold glove medalist swimmers in his team, is what Joshua said. Are you talking about James Redmond? James Redmond just ducked out. He's going to be back in a minute in relation to that. Terry needs an eye test, is what Maria Williams says. Are you saying I'm not good looking? Come on. Fair enough. We'll get a poll on that later. How good looking is Terry? We'll put some names in there, like the level. We'll try and get my levels: Brad Pitt level, Vin Diesel level, Tom Cruise level,
David Beckham in there.
David Beckham level. Yeah, which level am I? Like I'm on the top echelons. You know what I mean? It's one of one of them ones there. Nothing like a little bit. 7 out of 10. That's not bad.
I've heard confidence is attractive, so.
I mean, I love myself, so it must work. You know what I mean? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But we're going to jump into this now, and we're going to start with. I'm going to go to Daniel straight away on this. You got Man City this weekend, and I'm so looking forward to this because it's not the first week, second week of the league. Everyone's had time to settle. You're flying high right now, but you're playing Man City that many people say are not as good so far as last season. They've started off slowly, etc., etc. How confident are you, Daniel, going into this big game this weekend against Man City?
Funny enough, I am quite confident. I think that one thing that goes a bit under the radar maybe I'm not looking or searching for the information, but I think it goes a bit under the radar, is the way Tuchel was able to beat Man City 3 times in a row. So he beat Pep 3 times in a row in 3 different competitions. Pep tried 3 different tactics where he played, I believe it was like a 4-3-3 in the first game, played like some sort of like 5, some form of a 5 at the back formation in the second game at the Etihad. And then obviously he started his best available team in the Champions League final, and Tuchel managed to win all those games in normal time. So for me, I think I'm confident, especially considering the fact that I believe Chelsea are the favourites to win the league this year. If Chelsea want to win the league title, I believe beating the reigning champions is the best way to go about it. And I think it's just something that long term, just going forward, how good our team can be, beating Man City is the way to go. And I think we can do it. I think we can do the job on them. I feel like there's a lot of there's holes in this Man City, in this version of the Man City team this year. And I think we can capitalize on those holes. I still think Pep hasn't figured out what he wants to do to beat Tuchel. And I think he's going to make a mistake again tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. I mean, it's an interesting take. Daps, from your point of view as a Manchester City fan, you know, you've lost to them on every occasion under Thomas Tuchel. Are you fearful now of playing Chelsea? You know, 4 on the bounce could be on the horizon. They beat you in the biggest game in your club's history. How fearful are you personally of going to Stamford Bridge on Saturday? You know what?
If I'm being honest, it's one of them ones that can go both ways. It's like Hold Tight Ty from Never a Fail. He's summed it up to me perfectly, that it's the same as when Pep was at City playing Klopp early years, and Klopp kept getting the better of him, and you could tell that Pep was overthinking it, trying a lot of different things. It's like the sword in the stone. We all know that eventually the kid got the sword out of the stone, and eventually, like, Pep will get it right. And it's just, will it be this game? Will it be the later game? But he will get it right. Nothing Daniel said is wrong. Like, we haven't started as well this season. You know, I think Stones and Laporte at the back's a bit of an issue, because I don't know if Stones is back to old Stones, but keeps getting knocks. Same with Laporte. I don't really trust Ake and Diaz at the back, and that's my concern, really. But you know what? I think it's the biggest game. The biggest game was Liverpool Chelsea. It's now City Chelsea, as far as for us to start really deciding who's going to win this league. Because if we can't beat Chelsea, we're not winning the league. If we can't beat Chelsea this weekend, we're not winning the league. It's can Pep undo Chelsea ultimately? If he can't, we'll probably lose both games against them. So,
I mean, that's a really, really big claim. James is back with us now as well. I want to go to a rival on that. I want to go to Jess on that. Do you think that's a fair claim that if City don't beat Chelsea this weekend, that's them out of the title race?
No, I think it's a little early for that. But I do think that if you want to win the title, it's not, you do have to take some of the points off of the top teams. So it's not like a guarantee that if you don't beat Chelsea this one time that it's over. But if it becomes a pattern and you can't take points off of Chelsea the next time, take points off of Man United, then it's starting to look a little bit like maybe you're shaky. But I almost feel like that's a little bit of like we can't win. If we, you still should be able to be challenging and stuff, even if you don't beat Chelsea this time around.
I hear you on that. And Patrick, from your point of view, I mean, a title decided this early, it may be a little bit premature. Who do you mark as your favourite? So looking at it as a complete neutral, your team ain't in the title race. who are you picking? Like, who would you look at right now and fancy to get the job done on Saturday?
Chelsea all day long. And I say that with no disrespect to Daps, who's my guy, and Man City, who are fantastic. But I just think Chelsea, they're pretty much, they got everything. They got strength and depth. They've got pretty much a quality player in every position ×2, apart from Lukaku. If Lukaku gets injured, that's probably the only concern. But, I mean, we don't need to think about that for now. But they've got 2 top keepers. They've got an abundance of fullbacks. They've got depth at centre-back. Obviously, they've got quality in the midfield. And they've got attacking players that can interchange and link with each other. So, yeah, I really look at this Chelsea team. I mean, you saw what they did to us in the second half. And with Tuchel as well, I think he's the best manager at the moment, the most informed manager, and he adapts to situations in real time. And I think that's what the difference is. Where obviously Pep Guardiola is a fantastic manager, but at the moment, I agree with Daniel. He's been overthinking things for a bit too much, especially in these big games. Like going into the Champions League game and not playing a defensive midfielder, that killed them. So you always wonder, is Pep going to overthink things and overdo it? But yeah, for me, Chelsea are definitely the best team in the league. And I'd be surprised if Daniel on mute. I'd be surprised if they didn't win the league this year.
Just to put things in perspective very, very quickly, obviously, this is a bit outside of the game, but I genuinely think Thomas Tuchel is that good of a manager. He's proven to be such an excellent coach, astute with his tactics and whatnot. And I think he's on path, really on course, and it might even hurt a couple Chelsea fans, but I really think he's on course to being our greatest ever manager, the greatest manager we've had in our history. Obviously, we've got this stranglehold of Jose Mourinho, rightly so, 2 Premier League titles, 3 League Cup titles. He never won an FA Cup with us and he never won a Champions League with us. But I think Tuchel, with winning a Premier League, potentially doing something, if he does a back-to-back Champions League, I'm not saying it's definite, but I just don't think we've been in a position to be as strong as we are right now. So, for example, when we won the Champions League under Di Matteo, there was no inkling that we would repeat the Champions League or go on to win the league the next year, for example. But I think now what we're doing is we're putting the building blocks in place, especially when I think a team like Liverpool, who have had their peak already, I think there's a bit of holes there. A team like Man City, I think they're missing a striker. They got they got a bit of holes there. And then I just think every single team has something to say about their team. Man United have got Oli. Liverpool have got Salah and Mane going to AFCON. They're two of their primary goal scorers. You got Man City, who missed out on Harry Kane. They've got a striker. I just don't think there's that thing. And the logic I'm hearing with Chelsea, every single time I'm just hearing, Tuchel's going to get sacked soon. If that's the logic, I'm sorry, it means Chelsea are back. Chelsea Football Club are back if that's the logic.
I want to ask James on this. So obviously,
coming to me next, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 things in there. The first one I want to ask you about is, in terms of this weekend, who do you see as favourites? In a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to how each team beats one another. The second question I've got for you is, do you see Chelsea or City as the strongest team in the league, or maybe your own boys, Liverpool?
Well, the first thing that I want to say in terms of the favourites in this game, it's undoubtedly Chelsea. They've had a great start to the season. They're a team that have looked strong. They've got very few holes in their game. And Thomas Tuchel has had them tactically set out amazingly. But on top of that, I think I have to massively, massively disagree with the notion that, first of all, if you finish above Chelsea, then you definitely win the league. On top of the notion that I disagree with that what was the thing that he said? What was the thing? It was like Liverpool have been past their best, or their peak has already happened. I'd really like to know where you're getting this information from, because it's not based on this season's performances. Because this season, when you talk about looking at their best, we've looked better. Mo Salah's looked the best he's ever looked in terms of creativity, in terms of goals, in terms of tracking back. Right now, he's the best player in the Premier League. And that's just my personal opinion. You can throw in a few more names into that hat, of course, but that's just my opinion on Mohamed Salah. His numbers back it up, but even his performances, they're starting to look on par. So that's one big thing that I have to really suggest that, that's important. Virgil van Dijk is back, motherfuckers. Apologies for me language if I shouldn't be saying certain things, but mate, Virgil van Dijk is back. He's better than any of your centre-backs, and I'm speaking to every single fan here. I'm speaking to Rafael Varane, I'm speaking to Ruben Diaz, I'm speaking to Thiago Silva, because Virgil van Dijk eclipses all of them. Not only does he bring... No, sorry, Terry, I'm in a bit of a roll here, quick. I'll get it cut off in just a moment. But Virgil van Dijk doesn't only secure the back line, he's also the person who gets the ball forward. On top of this, Trent has made barely any mistakes. Now with Henderson coming back being this utility man, I think Liverpool are very, very dangerous. And we weren't just any team. We were a team that got 2 Champions League back-to-back finals, 2 seasons, 97 and 99 points respectively. Say even if we did drop off just a titchy witch, I will tell you now that's still 90 points, 91 points. That's enough points to win the league. So I wouldn't write off Liverpool too soon.
Mate, great words. I was going to ask, you mentioned Varane and Diaz and Silva. Is Van Dijk... Is he talking to Ben White? It was the question I had. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Is you talking to Ben White? Is you talking Ben White? Who's Ben White even in this conversation? You'll have Rafael Varane, Virgil van Dijk, Ruben Diaz all sitting at a table having the scran, and Ben White's just that kid that walks in, and you're thinking, who is that guy? Who is that guy? You know what I mean? It's like, do you know when Virgil van Dijk pushed the fan off the interview? He just goes like that. That's Ben White. That was Ben White asking for the photo. He wants to be that good. But it is what it is.
You know that we're bigger than Tottenham because you guys didn't even mention Romero. So didn't mention him at all.
There we go. Arsenal and Tottenham fans having a measure your micro penis competition here. I love it. I love this.
I mean, if you're so great, why are you mentioning us? I mean,
because it's banter.
Is it?
I wish I had the meme of Jay in between us just going, funny. That's all it is. That's what it needs. It's just funny. But yeah, in terms of this game, I want to go Dan. Let's bring it back to this preview for a minute. Viewers, make sure you're smashing that like button for us. Like your point of view, Dan. What do you need to do? Where are the weak areas in this City team this weekend that Tuchel you think is going to exploit?
I think what it is that, and what Tuchel has done in the past against Man City is he set. I'm not sure if that's me, but he set traps. If you cast your minds back to previous games, he set traps in certain areas of the pitch where I think we put a lot of pressure on Man City in certain areas, and then we win the ball very quickly and counter. So it's not actually a counter-attacking system because we build up very, very well. We build up play very, very well. But there's certain places where we put pressure points on Man City. We make them lose the ball in certain areas. I think in midfield, we've got the legs on them. And that's just big. When you have Kante, you've got Kovacic, potentially Jorginho. I'm looking at that 3-5-2. I think Timo Werner has just always been a threat against Man City. Like in all the games he's played against Man City, he's been a constant threat. And for some reason, for someone who people don't really class as one of the best players, he's always causing trouble against the big teams because he's able to stretch defenses and just put them out of place. So I just think, personally, when it comes to the tactical side of things, where Tuchel has his tactics set in place, Pep isn't fully trusting of what he would normally do. So he's trying to figure out what he has to do against Tuchel. And I don't think he's found that out yet. And especially because we're so early into the season, I don't think he's found out what he needs to do against Tuchel. That's why I'm fully backing us to get the win and for big 4-4 no safety to get the goal. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, and from your point of view, Daps, where do you see, like when you look at Chelsea, where are the weaknesses? How do you beat them? And what does Pep need to do?
It's a golden question for Pep, isn't it? Just to clarify before, I wasn't saying it's a title decider as such. I just feel that if we don't get this right, our form, like we need to get some form going, and nothing better than a win at the Bridge that will get our form going. If we don't get that, I could see it taking a bit longer for our form to come, and that's going to be vital. Right, so Chelsea's weak spot. Tuchel's going to sit back. He's going to let City go at them, which is fine, which is probably what we want. I mean, the weakness is on the counter against Chelsea. And, you know, that's how they scored in the Champions League. Fernandinho has to play. It's so essential that Fernandinho plays. I saw it last season, a lot of games where he didn't play, people hit us on the counter. He'll just take a player down on the centre line. My biggest worry is if we're going to create enough, to be honest, though. I think Foden, for me, watching Foden the other day, he has to start. You know what? Daniel was right again when Daniel said, is that Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante? I don't believe Saul will start. I don't think he's ready for it.
I need to ask you a question. Like, your Man City, £1 billion spent, some of the best attacking players in the league, Pep system. Why are you struggling? Like, legit, why are you struggling to break? You just spent £100 million on Grealish. Why are you going to struggle to break teams down, or why are you struggling to break teams down? We're not.
We scored 23 and 7. That's not struggling to break teams down. However, Chelsea have conceded 1 goal so far this season. So, like, I've watched Chelsea. Chelsea are a very difficult team to break down. So it's not that we struggle to break teams down, apart from Southampton as well, to be fair. But when it comes to Chelsea, you know, that they play with 3 at the back, 3 defenders, I rate all 3. And then for me, what Chelsea have is what Liverpool had when they won the league, and that is That is their midfielders are solid as hell and legs. But look, this is what Pep does. This is when Pep comes out, like when he has to think about things and break teams down. He's that guy that does this. So I'm not saying Chelsea are going to win the game at all. I trust in my manager. I'm just interested to see how he does it because they're a hard team to break down. I mean, De Bruyne has to start, Foden has to start, Grealish has to start. Those three for me. We can't be too defensive. We can't be going. I don't believe we should be playing with Rodri and Fernandinho. We need to go at them. We need to go at them, and we can't be too respectful of them.
I do hear you on that. I do. I just think. Do you know what? I think Dan pulled on it earlier. I think Pep's going to overthink it again. I think when a manager gets in his mind, he seems to do weird. Or an event, or a team, or a game gets in his mind. He went through that period against Jurgen Klopp, where it didn't matter what he did. Liverpool didn't just beat them; they made them look average. You know, he went through that period. He goes through that now. Ever since winning the Champions League with Barca, ever since the "can he do it without Messi" thing, he seems to do something stupid when he doesn't need to in a game, and he throws it away. And I think Thomas Tuchel has got into his mind in exactly the same way that Jurgen Klopp did a couple of years ago, especially in those Champions League games where Chelsea. Liverpool ripped you apart. And I think that's on Klopp. I think that's on the way he approached those games over anything else.
But did Pep get over it?
I mean, I wouldn't say
he did.
I wouldn't say he fully got over it, to be fair. You know, Liverpool last season, if you beat them, it was kind of not necessarily an anomaly, but it's not the usual Liverpool team that he's being given.
All right, what about the season you won the league?
The season that we won the league, remind me of the results, my mate.
The second one, was it 4-5? What was it?
The latest game in that season?
Yeah.
To be honest, the results are slipping me brain. But I don't know if overall that Pep's got his number. I still think if Jurgen Klopp plays Pep 10 times, Jurgen Klopp gets the best of the 10 times, especially if the teams are on a more equal playing field. And I agreed with Tuchel as well. And that's not me saying Pep isn't as good as Klopp. And of course he is. He's got the things to back it up. But he does overthink things and he does make mad decisions when it comes to big games. And I just think Tuchel's got that sort of that arrogance about him right now. He doesn't give a fuck, mate. And he knows what he's doing is working. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
He's got confidence.
He knows that his team is the hardest to beat. When your team's the hardest to beat, the only thing Chelsea, even though they're still getting the odd little goal and whatnot, the only thing that can stop them is if them goals dry up slightly. You know, they've got Lukaku, of course, but what I mean is that there's a lot of games where it's 1-0 and it's 2-1 and whatnot. I don't think Chelsea's attack is as good as City's or as good as Liverpool's, but it's still good.
In comparison, obviously, again, this is paper talk. Everyone's talking about on paper, Chelsea might have the weakest attack. But if I am to bring it to you, I think we've had the hardest start between Man City and Liverpool. We have the exact identical results as Liverpool. We scored the same amount of goals as Liverpool. Obviously, both conceded 1 goal, but our goal is we haven't conceded from open play. You would have if you're playing Everton balls. But I get what you're saying, but it's consensus from neutral fans, and I know James is going to disagree right now, but it's consensus that if we didn't get a man sent off, we would have beaten Liverpool. So for me, I think we're in a situation where people are nitpicking if the goals dry up, but the goals aren't looking like they are drying up. If you look at the game against Tottenham, especially when things started clicking and we looked like normal Chelsea, I'm sorry, Patrick, it could have been 5-6-0. Like it could have got low.
I agree. I said the same thing. I said if it wasn't for, even though we lost 3-0, Hugo Lloris, Dyer, and Romero had good games. If it wasn't for them, it could have been a cricket score. I agree. But then also, if we clicked in the first half, we should have scored a couple of goals as well. So it's by the by. But no, I fully hear what you're saying. I do.
It's going to be an interesting one indeed. I want some predictions on this, ladies and gentlemen. I want your comments. We've got some super chats I want to do first. We missed quite a few because we were in the mid-flow, but Paul Ross said, watch how an Arsenal player gets sent off and Spurs nick the game. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. First half will be crap. Second half, an Arsenal player will be sent off. Watch. We'll get on to Arsenal a little bit later. There was another super chat that came through earlier on in the show, and that was from Ads, who says confident but worried because there's no other team Man City players will hate more right now than Chelsea, and they will want a point to prove, just like Liverpool with the 4-0. Paul Ross says, can someone translate, please? I think he's talking about James Redmond. I'm sure you've heard that before, James.
Probably. Listen, if I had a penny for every single time, I'd be a millionaire, of course.
Absolutely. We had a member super chat who says, afternoon, Terry and everyone. Man City and Liverpool can put on a 10-game winning run or more if they click. We don't know if Chelsea can do that. What do you think 6-week break what do you think of a 6-week break for the World Cup? We'll touch the World Cup question a little bit later for you, mate. Tan here says, thanks, James, for putting Ben White in his place. Arsenal won 3 Premier Leagues in their lifetime, but act like they are as big as Man United and Liverpool. Stay in your lane is what Tan's got to say. That's the super chat. It's just people sometimes look at me like it's me. It's not my fault. I was reading them super chat.
Everyone points the finger at the voice.
I can't believe. Don't shoot the messenger. Well, actually, I watched the film 300 the other day. He kicked the messenger in a big hole. Like it's dangerous being the messenger sometimes. Big up Redmond on the terrace. No more clowns like Sonny.
Oh wow, that's not nice.
You must have seen Sonny's clip.
I did. I'll be 100% honest, my mates. I disagreed with 99.9% of what he said. But at the end of the day, I don't think the abuse that he got was called for as well.
Mate,
so,
just funny.
I sent him a little message and just said that I hope you're all right, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't listen to it too much. And if you believe it, stick to your opinions.
In fairness to him, like he does believe these things. And when I asked him, was he all right? I called him and he's like, he was sort of just like, I'm enjoying it. Like, because he's like, I'm not got an agenda. But
listen, I love that. Do that. You know what I mean? Embrace it.
Exactly. He had another clip go out on from Monday show. It went out where he said that Mo Salah is the best player in the world right now. And he kind of gave his logic that at this moment,
that's one of the more sensible things he said.
But then this time it's gone out and given me sport. And all the comments are, I normally hate this guy, but I really like what he said today. And that's the thing. Like I said to him, that hate that everyone's giving you, when you say something next week they agree with, it'll be like, oh, I quite like that. Like I said to him, just ignore it. It passes over real quickly.
Teddy, another thing as well is like, you know, I'm obviously known for saying what I said about Sadio Mane and whatnot. And some people don't know how much of that was a joke and how much of it was serious. I can tell you all of it was serious. But I was getting hate at first from Liverpool fans or whatnot. And then Mane started playing boss. And then I'm a hero of my own city. So it's one of them things, lads. That's YouTube. That's the world that we're in. If Sonny actually believes them things, he should say it with his chest. But I hear people getting arrested and that. That's where I was kind of like, you know what I mean? I was like over here.
Like, I hear you completely. We're going to put predictions on now for this Chelsea game. Get your predictions in the comments section. What we saying, people? The bet I want to put on today with Bet Victor. What I'm going to go with is a correct score bet. We're going to go over correct score bet for this game between Chelsea and Manchester City. So I'll go to Patrick first of all. What would your prediction be, mate, for this game?
Chelsea 2-1.
It's not bad. It's a nice little 10-1. How about yourself, Jess? What would you go with? What would your prediction be?
Chelsea 1-0.
Okay. James?
I think it's got a draw written all over it, you know, Terry. I don't know if I'm just saying that because I want it to be a draw, but honestly, I can see it being a little 1-1, cagey affair. Both teams, Man City need this result very badly. And I don't know, I think Chelsea might just be getting a little tiny bit too big for their own boots. So we'll see. I'm going to say 1-1.
I looked away and I thought Conor McGregor had turned up. I was like, what's going on?
I can do that. You know what I mean? Not just a pretty face.
I like it. Daps, what are you going with, mate? What's your prediction?
You know what? Can you put that screen back up with the bets on again?
Yeah.
Can't find it. Where is it? I was going to say 3-2 City. It's the only one that's not on there.
So what you can do, if I press this button here, it'll go down 33-1.
Yeah, I'll have some of that.
33-1, 3-1 City. That is considering
3-2
all the
City,
things
3-2.
Oh, sorry, 3-2. 3-2 is actually 33-1 is 3-2 City. That's considering what you said in the build. That's like a confident bet. Considering you didn't sound very confident.
You know what? Strange things happen in football. Like Chelsea have only conceded 1 goal all season, but Pep gets it right. We click. We can score 3 easily. We've been scoring 4 or 5 a game. The only thing is with Aki and Diaz at the back, I do think we'll concede. That's my only.
I just think Chelsea will play for a draw. I honestly, I think that they'll either get a goal, concede a goal, and once they're equalising, they'll go for it earlier on in the game. But that's what they've done against us. They started doing it before they went down to 10 men. They started playing for the draw anyway. I think Tuchel knows that 11 for 11. It's not a lie, though. That's my perspective. It might be a lie. It might be a lie for you, but that's just my perspective. My perspective is just that. The second, because you know that you have to go with a 5 at the back, and by the way, I am not damaging this, you know what I mean? But it makes players look better. So when you go with a 5 at the back, you haven't got as good as an attack as Liverpool do. You haven't got as good as a midfield that Liverpool do, or probably Man City. That's when you're going to start getting caught out.
Chelsea was running the midfield. That's a weird statement. Chelsea was bossing the midfield
Against us.
With two.
I have to massively disagree. I think they had periods in the first half. And then we took over the game. That's how my
You never took over the game.
I think we did in my eyes.
This is what I say all the time. Liverpool fans watch the different game.
You never had barely any chances in the second half.
That's not true. We had the best chance in the second half.
You never had the best chance. You had about one chance
in the second half. It was literally the best chance. All your shots were outside the box, bro. You can even check all the stats. All your shots were outside the box. You didn't
if that's the way you saw it. If that's the way you saw it, fair enough, me brother.
Anyway,
your score prediction, Daniel.
I was actually going to say, because I'm so like the confidence of me winning the league stems from Thomas Tuchel, and I think that every champion puts in a big performance, and I think this is the game to put in a big performance. I don't know if you can cast your minds back to Antonio Conte away at Man City, where we beat them 3-1. And I think it's going to be 3-1 today and on Saturday as well. I genuinely think we're going to put in a big performance, a champion performance, where people start to actually believe that we can actually win the league. So yeah, 3-1 Chelsea.
And you know what? Based on that big performance comment, I remember that I think it was a Centurion season. We beat Chelsea 1-0 at the Bridge.
Yeah,
De Bruyne, and from that, like that kind of made everyone start thinking, yeah, you know what, City are gonna, and that was October as well.
Notice. I hear you on that. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm looking at everything that everybody's said and everything that everybody's talking about when it comes to this, and I've got to put a little bet on here. I've got to do this. I've got to get this done. And I'm thinking. I didn't mean to put that view on. To be fair, I'm going to go with Daniel's bet. I like the odds there at 22-1 on 3-1 high scoring game. I'm going to stick a nice little cheeky $5 on that happening, which isn't too bad. It'll give me a return there of £115.
I won you lot money last week.
You did. That's why I'm going with you, because you won me £33 last week on this very show. Viewers, remember, you can sign up to your Bet Victor accounts now. The links to do so are in the description below or pinned to the live comment section. If you do put a bet of £5 on, you get a free £30 bet. And there is a special Football Terrace special boosted bet that's coming later. Our name's actually on the Bet Victor website, which I'm kind of proud of, really. It's kind of weird, but I am. So get yourself signed up to it right now if you want to keep these shows going. We've got obviously James Redmond on this week as our special guest. We've got some serious other people just like James lined up for the weeks to come. So if you want these shows to continue, get yourself signed up now, but make sure you always gamble responsibly. If you have a little flutter, I'm placing that bet now. 3-1 to Chelsea is the prediction. That's done. That's locked in. Can't get out of that now. That's done, and that's dusted. That was the view I was meant to put on. That's better. It looks like a phone now. That looks much better. Thank you to the tech team for sorting that. Michael here says, always bet against Jess and you can't lose, is what Michael Ramsey's got to say. Jess is getting a bit of stick today. I'm just reading the comments out again. Don't give me the looks.
Listen, I was getting the Sonny 2.0 comments there, and I saw a few, do you know what I mean? But...
according to the first half stats posted on Twitter by the Premier League, Liverpool was the better team. Chelsea had moments, is what selection says.
And this is just what I want to kind of just dead quickly extends on.
Yeah,
I mean, you can say all you want that Chelsea were the better team in the game, but we controlled the possession of the ball, even in the first half. After the first 20 minutes, we controlled the game. On top of this, we also had more chances. Yes, we might have not got into the box too much, but that is what happens when a team puts 10 men behind the ball. And again, I'm not even faulting that. You do what you need to do. On paper, we've got a better team. and a better manager. So it's understandable that you're going to need to be a little bit more defensive.
Yeah.
So fair play from Tuchel in that aspect. But I'm only telling you facts that we were the better team. End of story. That's just the way I saw it.
10 men. Are they not deep in that we had 10 men and we're still...
Haven't I not just acknowledged my mates? Have I just not acknowledged that you had 10
I
men?
agree, but I think...
And then you put them 10 men behind the ball.
I think that what you're not acknowledging, though, is controlling possession doesn't mean you had the better game.
I said we controlled the game, which we did. We had the more chances, and we did
possession doesn't mean you control the game, bro. Moments control games. I'll tell you that.
Of course. And you had one moment. You had one. Besides your goal, you had one moment.
And one moment made sure it was a draw for you as well. The red card.
That's why I'm saying. But you still can't take away that we still played better. That's all I'm saying to you. We were the better team on the day. You've just basically admitted it, but then changed up a few words.
Nah.
You said, you control possession. You had the more chance, but we can't. But we put.
I didn't say you had more chances. I said you had more possession, but we controlled the game because
we also had more chances. That's statistically proven.
There we go, Jed. We'll touch on this a little bit later on in the show. We're going to move on to the North London Derby preview now. Smash that like button before you go. But tomorrow night, we are previewing these games again, but we're back at Unit 7 for Friday night on the terrace, and we do have sync. What a show we have in store for you Friday at 6 p.m. The North London Derby is here. Nuno versus Mikel Arteta. This studio is going to be filled with some of the best Tottenham and Arsenal fans across social media previewing that game. And as an added bonus, Man City and Chelsea play this weekend, and we're going to take an in-depth look into that game as well. Make sure you're tuning in 6 p.m. this Friday, only on the Football Terrace. You know to smash that like button, and we'll see you all there. So that's coming up tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in. And we've tested it another 3 times. We have synchronization in the sound, so very, very happy about that. It's going to be a big, big show tomorrow night. Patrick's there, Daniel's there, joining us along with Eleanor, Tans, KJ. Devo's going to be there. We've actually got that. And another little announcement is it's called something else now, but viewers Fan Park Live returns on Tuesday. Tuesday night for the Champions League. Fan Park Live is back. Have Hope, me, Neeks, Adam Charles, all back in the studio for the first time in 2.5 years. It's like Take That getting back together all over again. So yeah, very, very happy. But it's the North London Derby. It is the North London Derby, one of the biggest football matches in European world football. Very, very, very excited indeed to watch this game this weekend. And I'm going to go to the visitors first of all. I'm going to go to Patrick on this one to start with. It's been a weird topsy-turvy season. You started off with 3 wins, but not playing overly convincingly. And then it's 2 absolute slappings on the bounce, a near miss in the Carabao Cup last night. How are you feeling right now about Tottenham, about Nuno, and the big news today? Fonseca said that the reason the deal fell through is because it's been a decision from Paratici and Spurs to play negative football this season. Like, how are you feeling with all this going on, going into the biggest game of your season away at the Emirates?
Yeah, where do I start, man? Where do I start? I mean, even when we won the 3 games on the spin, as you'll see on my show on Views TV Official, I was congratulating Nuno for obviously the 3 wins and winning Manager of the Month, but I wasn't happy with the style of play. There was definitely causes for concern. And then against Crystal Palace, we pretty much undone all that hard work in one game. We got slapped about. Conor Gallagher was the best player on the pitch. We just were woeful. We were all over the place. And it stems from, yes, we had injuries, but it stemmed from Nuno's negative tactical selections. He brought in Winks, Højbjerg, and then and Skip as a midfield 3. So there was no creativity. There's no one to connect, no one to link, the midfield to the attack. And we are pretty much, Harry Kane may as well have not played. He didn't even touch the ball, did he? Against Chelsea, we were fantastic in the first half, but we just lacked that cutting edge in the final third. Reguilón was in behind. He should have squared the ball properly. We could have had a goal. And there was also other moments where we didn't really take the initiative to Chelsea. And then second half, we completely collapsed. Chelsea just turned it on. Tuchel made changes as and when he needed to. They brought on Conte, they brought on Werner, and they completely bossed and killed us. A near miss yesterday. We looked good again in the first half to a degree, They scored late in the first half, as in Wolves. And in second half, we were kind of on the back foot, but we did enough to scrape through. So I go into the game with mixed emotions, but to be fair, it's Arsenal, innit? And I'm not really that scared of or worried about Arsenal. I know we haven't got a result there in the last 11 years, as in a win, but I feel that we're at least get a draw on Sunday. I'm not that worried. The Arsenal team doesn't scare me. I don't really see that many goals in that team at the moment. I'm not really sure what their midfield's about. Defensively, they can get got at. So yeah, I'm not too concerned. But obviously, it's a North London derby. I do respect the fact that Arsenal in a derby will obviously come and play. And I always get nervous, as any honest fan will tell you. In the derby, you're going to be nervous before the game. But am I worried about Arsenal right now? Probably not.
Jess, should Spurs be worried about Arsenal? As he said, doesn't matter how good or bad you've been in the last 5, 6, 7 years, your record is superior. Should Spurs be worried about the Emirates Stadium this weekend?
I would say so, based on you guys haven't played well at all this season. Even when you guys were winning, you weren't playing well. I knew the luck would run out at some point. Nobody believed me. I think there are some people on this channel that were saying that you guys were up for top 4. You're not, because you guys don't score any goals and you don't keep them out. Now you could say that that's probably the same with us, but we didn't have like half of our team for the first 3 games of the season. You guys had your full team and you got slapped by Chelsea. We had kids out there. So I think it's a different narrative now. We're on the up. You guys are definitely on the down. I don't even know what your style of play is, what you're trying to get done. Harry Kane's not looking the same. So, and even when Harry Kane was playing well, Gabriel bodied him last season. Like, he got no touches on the ball. And for whoever was like, oh, well, we're going to get the red card, I think it was Tottenham who got the red card last time because they couldn't keep their cool. So I'm actually weirdly confident. This will probably come back to bite me, but I am confident. I watch my team play day in and day out, and I think that we're getting better and you guys are staying the same, if not getting worse. So yeah, I think you guys should be worried because we're confident and you guys look, you guys look rank. Sorry.
Come on, nah. Listen, I think, to be fair, like, yes, some of what you said has some merit, some of it doesn't. When we played Crystal Palace, we had a lot of players out. I know you used the term that you played kids against Chelsea and rare. We had a lot of players out against Crystal Palace. And then we also had that COVID debacle where Romero, Lo Celso and Sanchez were stuck in quarantine for 10 days. So Crystal Palace played us at a good time. Don't get me wrong. No matter the team we put out, we should beat them. But we've also had that same problem with injuries and so on. So in terms of we don't have a style of play, we don't know our best style of play at the moment. I agree, but we have a new manager. Arteta is settled, so you guys should look more, more convincing in that respect. But defensively, I'm not too sure about you guys as well, if I'm being honest.
Well, since we've had our consistent back 5 that everybody knew that that's what we needed, we haven't given up a goal. So I think since Gabriel, White, who everybody has, I don't know, an agenda against, I don't get it, Tomiyasu, Tierney, and Ramsdale, we haven't looked scared at all. You guys were making assumptions about what we were going to be like defensively based on Pablo Mari and Rob Holding, which you guys know it's not going to be our group. So again, this is our group, and we've looked pretty good since then. You've had the majority of your group, let's just be real, and Harry Kane.
No, you haven't had the majority. And you guys have played, if we put it into context, you played Norwich and Burnley. With all due respect, they're Premier League teams, but they're not great Premier League teams. So, yeah, okay, I agree. You've kept some clean sheets. You look better defensively, but you need to put into context they're not great teams. It will be a good test on Sunday.
You nearly conceded against Norwich, didn't you, Jess? It's Arsenal. There was moments in that game where it looked like they were kind of losing control, and that, with all due respect to Norwich, of course, it didn't look like they were the strongest opposition.
But see, this is the thing: is you guys think that if a team gets an opportunity, that all of a sudden that means that you were on the back foot and you were under duress and all of that. This is the Premier League. Every single game you're going to have, it's not like back in the day where you have 90% possession and the other team never touches the ball. Like, they're going to get a chance or two, but I think their XG was like 0.02 or something like that. They weren't in the game really, but I mean, hey, they're not it's just Burnley, it's just Norwich, it's just this, it's just that. We'll see. I'm pretty confident. I'm really not that worried about Spurs because they haven't looked good at all. And they have all of their players now. So we'll see what happens.
But with all due respect as well, Loja, like Arsenal haven't looked too great either. Like both teams have looked poor and they've accumulated more points and they've actually got more firepower at the front end of their pitch to be able to finish you off. The chances that Norwich weren't so happening to take.
Trajectory. You know what that is, right?
So
when some teams are going up and other teams are going down, I think we're going up and I think that they're kind of staying where they are and sloping a little bit. So that's just me. But the next time that you guys play a team in the relegation zone, when's the next time you guys play somebody in the relegation zone? Let's make sure that they never get a chance. Actually, they shouldn't cross the halfway line because you guys are so good.
Never said
that. But that's how you guys. That's how you guys think. That's not how the game goes.
No, that's the way you've thought it. That's the way you've thought it. I never said that. No. I agree. That's the way you heard it.
That is what you're saying.
No, it's not. I said there was moments in the game where it opens up. So if a Harry Kane or a human song gets on the end of them chances, then obviously it's going to be curtains. That's all I said.
I agree. But I think sorry, Dan. I think the same can be said though for the fact that Burnley had lots of opportunity to score the other day, but as well. So I totally agree that Arsenal can be got at. I do. But I also look at the fact that Spurs as well don't look particularly. They did in the first few games. They looked like kind of hard to break down. But Chelsea could have scored any amount of goals against them. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal's attack's as good. I watched the Wolves game back and they started well, but again, leaked opportunities. So I do think this is what I like about this game. I know a lot of people in the comments are saying how like they're two fallen big clubs. They're both trash. That's why I'm excited about it because they've both got players in the team that can score goals. Harry Kane and Son are head and shoulders above what Arsenal have got with respect, but both teams are susceptible to like being opened up. So I actually think we might see quite a high, 3 or 4 goals scored in this game, a bit of a topsy-turvy match as well. I'm excited. I really, really am. But Daniel, sorry, you were going to say something, mate.
No, I was literally going to say that. Do you know what? I agree with Jess. I think Arsenal could win this game. I think obviously the way for Tottenham to win this game, in my opinion, is to counter. I think Nuno should deploy.
That's their only way of play. So
yeah,
I think one
of the biggest mistakes Nuno made against Chelsea. To be fair, it worked in the first half, as Patrick pointed out. Like they had chances where I think maybe a more ruthless Tottenham might have scored early on. But I think one of the biggest mistakes they made was trying to go toe to toe with Chelsea, and that obviously opened them up, especially in that. There was that 20-minute spell at the beginning of the second half where we just completely killed you guys off. So I think for me, what you need to do is give Arsenal possession, concede possession, and then try and win on the counter. But if you do what you did and deploy those same tactics and try and go toe to toe, try and entertain, I think that's where you could be caught. Even though yes, James makes a valid point. They've created chances. At the end of the day, you got the points on the board. That's how I see it. Like when it's all said and done, we're not going to look back on Arsenal away at Burnley or away at Norwich and then say, da-di-da-di-da. I mean, I said it already on one of the last streams. I covered the Arsenal-Norwich game and I said I didn't think Arsenal were impressive. But at the end of the day, they got the points. They got the goal. They got the points. I mean, we talk about how good Liverpool have been. I can make the argument that Liverpool haven't faced anyone interesting. And the time that they did face someone interesting, they were 10 men and didn't look great. So we can always do the caveats. No, we can always do the caveats, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Difference is we dominated our games and there weren't really an opening for them teams to come back in. Like you said, Chelsea were the most difficult opposition. They were the ones who give us the most smoke. I'm giving respect to you.
Well, I mean, hang on, but Palace hit the post twice in the opening couple of minutes, and then
Leeds could have scored on Liverpool as well. Leeds could have scored on them in the first couple minutes.
Yeah. You deserve to win those games. There's no doubt. I mean, Edouard had the chance. Of course you did.
Deserve to win those games.
And the point is, I actually get where you're coming from. It would make more sense if this was Arsenal versus City, and it's like we know you get opened up by so many teams. There's no way you're keeping City out. Like they're also playing Tottenham that so far for me have been almost as bad as them this year. That's why I'm looking forward to it. It's like watching the Chuckle brothers play each other. It's going to be great.
See, my issue is that people are only talking, and I get that it's because we're Arsenal and they're Tottenham, but the idea that they're like solidified and okay, even though it's clear that they have issues, but you guys do realize that our team is like average age 22. Like, we're not actually supposed to be as good as Tottenham, but I think we're comparable, if not better, and probably are in a better position to win. So there's never any context added there
You're at
at
home.
all
That's the only
whatsoever.
reason why you say you're in a better position. But in terms of
No,
the
it's
18
not. No,
teams,
it's actually not. It's not
we've got a
about,
young team
it's
as
not
well, so
home.
it's not really. I wouldn't really say that's the argument. You've got a young team. We've brought in a lot of young players this year. I don't
No,
really
you
see that.
haven't.
We have. Brian Gill's
Who?
20. Oliver Skip is 21.
Oh, he's from your
Romero-
academy.
Yeah, but
Isn't
he's still bought in this year. He didn't play for us. He didn't feature before. He was on loan. So in terms of all the players that
Okay.
we brought in, they're all young as well. So I wouldn't really use that as an argument. The only thing I'd say for you guys is that you're at home. Other than that, it is what it is. It's not really.
I just think that Spurs have got more quality, bro. I think Spurs have got more quality than Arsenal. They
You
might both
You
be playing
you guys
bad,
have
but
always
yes,
think,
you
you
just
guys have
mentioned it
always
yourself, look.
thought that. You've always
No,
thought
Jess, it's
that, and
not
we
pink.
still beat them. We still beat them last season, and we were the worst team ever. And Harry Kane was going to rip us apart, and
Yeah, but
Gabriel pocketed him. Please
Yeah,
put
but at home
respect. You guys
at home
haven't
we
been
beat you as
great.
well.
You have
It's not really.
It's not just because we're at home. They finished 1 point above us last season, and they have immense quality over us, don't they? It's not that big of a gap, you guys. I'm sorry. It's not.
I agree.
The
Look,
narrative around Spurs and Arsenal is
I think,
false.
look,
They are
look,
not
Arsenal-
that good.
It's very easy
It's
to
a
banter
joke.
Arsenal, and everyone knows already.
Jesus
I won't.
Christ.
What's it called? I won't. What's it called? Shy away from bantering Arsenal. Innit? I love doing that. Me and Jeff always go back and forth. However, as it pertains to this game, when it comes to Arsenal, Tottenham, I think the margins, and I think Tottenham should be going into this game as favourites, but for some reason they're not. Because for me,
Because they're
Spurs
not that good.
honestly,
Exactly.
I agree. I agree.
Guys, I want to go to Daps here. Daps hasn't spoken on this yet. Like, where are you at with this game, Daps? Are you
You know
siding
what,
towards Arsenal, Tottenham, or are you siding
Arsenal.
towards...
I'm siding with Arsenal, and I'm exactly the same as Daniel. I don't know why, but I'm siding with Arsenal. Like, we should be saying Tottenham should go and turn them over. But look, when we played Tottenham at the beginning of the season, Tottenham looked really good. But I don't know what happened after that. Honestly, I don't know what Nuno did. But, well, he brought back Kane, right? He brought back Kane, and I'm with Arsenal.
Yeah, Kane shouldn't be in that team right now.
No.
Kane is an op right
Kane's
now.
not
Kane
Kane
is not there.
He's getting loads of shit, isn't he? He's getting loads of shit off people at the moment.
He don't want to be there. It's so clear he does not want to be there. The minute he came back, you lot have turned piss poor. Like,
I don't know if you lot have seen that
That
Lewandowski
simply.
and Royce thing where they're looking at each other and smiling. That's like Man City and Kane right now. Like Kane's like, I really want to come to you guys, man, but obviously circumstances aren't allowing me to do so.
you know what, though? The thing is, in that game, when we played Tottenham, the one thing I said about Tottenham is without Kane, they looked like a team of players that wanted to prove that they're not a one-team player. And it looked like they were all putting that extra effort in to kind of show, look, we don't need Kane. We can go against the champions and we can beat them. And then the minute Kane's come back, it's all changed. I'm sorry, but they probably all feel like you don't want to be here, and he's our captain. Our captain does not want to be the captain.
Hugo Lloris is the captain, but I hear what you're saying.
Oh, sorry, my bad. He is actually. Yeah, I'm
probably
getting
the lead. No, but I get what you mean. He is essentially the captain on the pitch because Hugo Lloris is a goalkeeper, and it's a bit strange to have a goalkeeper captain.
It's mad we say that, though. It's mad we say that because when it comes to what I think is actually going to happen in this game, like we'll talk about the Football Terrace special a little bit later, but we're saying all this, and I think Harry Kane's going to end up being pivotal this weekend. Like, I just get this feeling that he's going to do something because
I agree.
Because this is football. This is the way football works. I don't know how it operates. I don't know what gods are involved, who the script writer is, but like you'll all sit there and say, Kane hasn't looked this, Kane hasn't looked that, and then he's gonna pop up with a brace. Like that's why we love football, because it has better storylines than Hollywood. It has more twists and turns than 8 Mile, and more drama in it than EastEnders at Christmas. It's just got everything you want it to have, and it's going to be amazing. We have a super chat here quickly for Jess. It says, Jess, when do you realistically think Arsenal will play Champions League football in? Before 2030? And Daniel, how many world-class right-backs are there in Europe right now? So we'll go to Jess first of all. When will Arsenal be back in the Champions League, in your opinion?
I don't know. It'll probably be a while. Again, it would be more funny if it was just our old team full of the older players. It's young players, longer term project. You guys are more worried about it than we are, so maybe in the next 6 years or so.
Cheer up.
I mean,
please cheer up a little bit. Please cheer
I
up.
am
a little
cheering
bit.
up.
Come on.
Yes.
It's like constant, like, you guys are in the champions. There's never any context, so it's kind of like boring. Like, find new things to like say. It's rinse and repeat, like, So, but yeah,
You know what, Jess?
I feel with the accent.
Jess, based on that, I don't ever want you to talk about Manchester City not filling out a stadium, because that's how I feel about that.
But then football's boring now. Wait there, guys. Stop it now.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, football's boring when you don't do that. But Man City fan, I don't want to disrespect you, mate. Could you remind me of your name?
Daps.
Daps, big up yourself, Daps. And listen, it's a pleasure doing a show with you. Yous have no fans. When you look at your stadium, you've got fucking barely anyone on them middle rows. Jess, you seem like a darling, honestly, absolutely lovely. But stop taking it to fucking heart. You're not a European team. You can't win European trophies. You can't get into the Champions League. You're just shit. And then do you know when we go on a run of games, when Jurgen Klopp leaves, and if we go bad again, yous all come to me and you say, "Oh, Liverpool are shit." That's football. It's well better that way. Amen.
Listen, viewers, what do you think? What do you feel? We're going to keep previewing this game, but I'm going to give you my little special. We have put the link in the live chat, and we'll put the link into the comment section. Well, there's a Football Terrace special that you can do right now on the Bet Victor website. The link, as I say, is below. This is my little bet. Look at this, 20 to 1 we're going to give you. We've boosted it. Harry Kane to score anytime and Tottenham to win 2-1 in this game. That's Arsenal, Tottenham this week.
Boom.
20 to 1. Viewers, if you want to go and put that on there, let me know if any of you are backing that. Get yourself signed up to Bet Victor now. I'm going to place this bet in a few moments' time, but I want to get everybody else's predictions on how they think their teams are going to win. I'm going to go to Jess first of all. How do you beat Tottenham this weekend? What does Arteta need to do? So how do you stop Tottenham and how do you beat them in your view?
I think our defense is really solid. I really don't, unless they try to come on the counter, which that's exactly what they're going to do. I don't really think we need to work on stopping them because they just don't create enough chances and they don't score. So just don't give up a penalty, essentially, because I think that's the main way that they'll be able to score. I think our back five is really solid, regardless of what other people think. Ramsdale, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, all of them looks really good. We just have to finish our chances. I think we struggle, especially Saka and ESR. So they need to put away their chances early when they get them. I'm sure we will get them. And it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a 3, 4, 5 goal game. It's going to be really close still, but I think they have a really difficult time scoring goals. Harry Kane is not really looking like the old Harry Kane. And even when he was that, we handled him pretty easily, without a penalty. I just don't see it happening for them. So, stay defensively sound, finish your chances. Pretty simple, Let's see how it goes.
There we go. How about yourself, Patty? What you how do you stop this Arsenal team?
I think in terms of, first, let me just touch on one of Jess's points. She said Harry Kane wasn't, even the old Harry Kane wasn't, when we played you guys at White Hart Lane, Harry Kane scored in open play and he was fantastic in that game. So it's like you forget that we beat you 2-0 as well. Son and Kane were the goal scorers. And I think, to be fair, in terms of how we beat Arsenal, we have to play on the front foot. Don't show them any respect. We need to take the game to them. I think Nuno's been a bit too defensive in some of his lineups. He needs to put in, I think Brian Gill needs to start. Ndombele needs to start. We need to play on the front foot, attack them. We need to test that defense because I know Jess is saying, and she's right in the sense that they've kept 2 clean sheets, but we really need to test that defense, test that goalkeeper, and pretty much take the game to them like we did against Chelsea, but then just be a bit conservative when, playing defensively. So yeah, for me, we play on the front foot, we attack them, and then we get at them, basically. That's how we beat them.
Interesting. We'll do score predictions now, ladies and gentlemen. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Make sure that like button has been smashed as well. Over 2,000 people watching us live, which is amazing. There was a super chat from Aaron, who's a Liverpool fan earlier. He says, I see a draw happening given the form of both teams from the start of the season. Either team could win it, though. Harry does love a goal against Arsenal. Isn't Harry Kane the top goal scorer in North London derbies?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he got that last year when he scored
Okay, yeah, I thought I read that somewhere. But there we go. James, what's your score prediction, mate? What do you reckon is going to happen in this game?
My score prediction for this game, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a very close affair, but I just think when it comes to the scoreline, Spurs are going to have the quality opposed to Arsenal, and that is why I'm going to say a cheeky little Spurs 2, Arsenal 1. I don't even know where Arsenal are going to get the goal from, but probably a Spurs mistake, so I'm going to say 2-1.
Daps?
2-2. 2-2.
Straight to the point.
Kane brace.
Kane brace.
After
Daniel.
all the shit we've chatted about Kane, it's going to be a Kane goal in it, lads. You're right.
You know what?
I'd love for him to do? He'd score it, run to the camera, and be like, "I'll watch that show," and he'd be like, "I only deal in absolute."
Like, fuck you, football.
Honestly, that's a day when I'd be like, "You know what? I'm retiring. I've made it." If he literally was like,
Yes.
"Screw you, TFT," like, oh,
Maybe
wow.
I am joining you. We're going to the friggin' Bahamas or something, having pina coladas all day. Tell you,
Harry Kane spat my name out his mouth. Literally. Daniel, what are you saying, bruv? What's your score prediction?
No, I'm the reverse in it. I think it'll be 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. Pat, what you going with, mate?
I can't lie, your bet has gassed me. I did come into this saying it'd be a draw, but I'm gonna go with your bet. 2-1. I'm gonna say Son and Kane.
yes, lads. Easy. Back your team, fella.
Come on.
Go ahead, Jess, what we saying?
Jess, are you backing your team?
Of course she is.
Yeah, 1-0 to the Arsenal.
We love that.
1-0, did you say?
Yeah, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Yes.
1-0 to the Arsenal. Come on.
Cool, calm, and collective, Jess. That is how you want to see it.
There we go. I'm going to put my boost bet on here. I'm going to stick with what I was going to say. 20-1 be the odds on that there, as we can see. I think you pressed that. Is that what you pressed? You pressed that button? Oh, there it is. I put it twice in my bet slip now. So I'll get rid of one of them, right? I know that's the correct score. That's already been done. Here it is. I'm going to stick a tenner on that. I'm going to stick a tenner on it. I'm sticking £10 on that live on the air. £210 return. Harry Kane to score anytime in the 90 minutes. Spurs to win 2-1. Bet placed. That is done. That is loading. You can match that bet or do any bets of your choice. All the links are in our description below. Go and get signed up now. It really does support the Football Territory. It will keep this show going well into the season as well. If you like having a little responsible gamble every now and then, use Bet Victor. If there are any markets that you want, things that you think, oh, maybe they should exist, maybe they shouldn't exist. Oh, maybe we can get this added. What would the odds be? DM me. I basically run Bet Victor now. I can make them make the bets up. Right? Do you know what I mean? I basically run that now. Basically, do you know what, James? Do it in your Conor McGregor voice, saying you run Bet Victor. That'll sound good.
Sometimes I just have to let you know I don't just run the game. I run the Bet Victor game. Yeah, I don't just run the fight game. I run the Bet Victor game, my friends, and that's just it.
Quality. That is very good. So get yourself signed up to that now, people. Right, do that right now. There we go. That's the score predictions in. And we've got a little bit of time before we end, people. Any questions you have, get your super chats in, get your member chats in. Southwark 2012 says, we need an answer from Daniel on the right back question. Oh. It's a great question, especially with James being here. Who's the best right back in the Prem? And how many and are there any world-class right backs in the Prem? That's probably a better way of phrasing it.
So for me, and obviously everyone's James in particular, it's gonna be the Daniel v James once again. The best right back in the Prem is Kyle Walker, and there are no world-class right backs in the world currently. And the reason why I say that is a little bit of the argument that we had last night, where you could have 100 world-class players if they deserve to be world-class. You could also have 0 world-class players in a certain position. And currently, right now, there are no world-class right backs. No right back, in my opinion, is at a level where going forward, of course, yeah, we know Trent excellent, but also on the defensive side of the game, where we're talking about as a right back. The reason why I didn't say Cancelo is because I think Cancelo has played most of his time at Man City as a left back. So it's a bit difficult to say that he's the best right back in the world. But yeah, 100%. Look, we're going to talk about Trent. And obviously James is going to come with his Trent generational, all of this kind of stuff. We've heard it all before from Liverpool fans. It's made us it's boring now. We know Trent is a quality player. We understand what he does on the attacking side of the game. We think he's one of the best right backs we've seen going forward. He's got a wicked delivery. He's a great husband. He's a great father. He's a great philosopher. He's a great deliverer of a cross, but he cannot fundamentals of a right back, the fundamentals of a defender is you need to be able to defend. We literally dissected him Champions League game against AC Milan, where Liverpool were always going to win that game. Liverpool were never under threat, in my opinion. Yes, they did have a little bit of a wobble where there was like that 5-minute period where AC Milan scored 2 goals, but Liverpool were always going to win that game. Who was the man at fault for both of those goals? Yes, you might argue some players might have covered him, done this. Trent is the only right back I've ever heard in history where the defense for Trent is always, Henderson wasn't able to cover him. Fabinho wasn't there to cover him. Yeah, because he goes so far forward, he's not able to come back. Let's stop making mistakes for this guy. He's a quality footballer. I have no doubts that he's going to last at the top of the game. But until he's able to become an above-average defender, I'm not comfortable calling him world-class. No way, because he's not. He's a below-average defender. Below average.
Scoop. Whoop, whoop. More Trent slander I hear it on a daily basis. I'm not even gonna. You know what, Daniel, my mate? I like you. Do you want me to tell you why? Because you believe in your points, and that's a fucking sick thing, lad. And make sure that you stay that way because that's why people like you. Anyway, Trent. I mean, fine. If you want to say he's a below-average defender, I will only have to deny you on that with stats. And you are also right. Generational. He's me, but well better. Do you know what I mean? Like, he comes from where I come from, or he comes from a slightly posher part. Either way, point still stands. Trent, for me, best right back in the world. But that's not the argument that I'm going to bring to you. You said something there, Daniel, that I want to... Can't call you up on, my mate. You suggested Kyle Walker is the best right back in world football. First off, I have to disagree with that. And I also don't think he's the best in the Prem. And let me... sorry. Let me correct me then. You said he's the best in the Prem.
Yeah.
A notion that I have to disagree with. And I've just said that I think Trent's the best right back in the world, so I'm not going to wax lyrical about him. I think Reece James is better than Kyle Walker. I feel like you're not giving your right back enough respect. When you talk about a well-rounded fullback, there's not really many that come better than Reece James. And with time and with a little bit more experience under his belt, he will be in that conversation with the Trents, the Hakimis, if he's not already. And I think he is in that conversation already. And I think season on season, he will prove that even more. I do still think Trent is the best. And I have to absolutely disagree with the notion. And I can only really put it down to you don't watch him that much and you just go with the crowd when you suggest that Trent is a below average defender. Far from the truth. It's just there's more of a light shed on the situation when Trent makes a mistake. And again, that is fine, but he is the best in the world at going forward. The fundamentals of a right back depends on your system and not the way you think of it, Daniel. And Reece James is better than Kyle Walker. So that's the way I'm going to put it.
Can we bring it back? Can we bring it back? Brilliant. And I totally love what he said. Literally played into the hands. And that's what we're going to do to Man City. Pressure points, set traps, and win the game like that. The perfect trap. You literally said it depends on the system that he plays. When you take Alexander-Arnold out of that Liverpool system, he will not perform at the same level. He will get assists.
But you're going with one set, and you don't do them, Daniel.
I'll let you spoke. I'll let you speak.
Couple of times. So there's my one interruption.
Yeah, fair enough. Alexander-Arnold is one of the most systemized players I've ever seen in my life, where it comes down to the fact that if you take him out of the system where he is actually asked to be the creative source, I have no qualms about Klopp's system. That's fine. Fullbacks can be the creative source for your system. However, we're talking about him as an individual, him as a world-class player. You should be able to stand alone as a world-class player, put you in any situation, put you in any team. I'm going to put you on the spot, James, and ask you a question. Who wants to be a millionaire? Let me ask you a question. If you had to put your life on it and say, Trent, last man back, defend and save this, be the guy that stops something, pockets maybe, let's say, a Ronaldo, a Messi, in a situation where you need to put your life on it, would you put Trent in that situation?
Trent actually did pocket Ronaldo in the final that we lost, so...
Trent can't even pocket Sterling.
That's a fact. You can say that, but he's done it before.
Come on, James, man.
He's pocketed Ronaldo. We can all talk. I'm being serious. Listen, I'm being serious, guy. What do you mean? Am I not being serious? I'm saying everything with my chest. Just because you disagree with it doesn't mean I'm not being serious.
Fair enough.
Daniel, I've just told you my point of view on what I think it takes to be the best right back in the world, and you took something completely different from that. You talked about only system.
No, but it's what you said that I'm criticizing. You said what it takes to be the best right back in the world is how you perform in the system that you're asked to.
Yes.
I'm saying saying that criteria.
No,
is
I never
flawed.
said that. I never said that.
Or what
I
do you
never.
say?
No, the systems have meant that you have to evolve as a right back. You have to cover more area of the pitch. You even see the likes of Gary Neville mentioning it. When he was a defender or when he was a right back, he had to defend. Now you have to do both sides of the game. In Liverpool's system specifically, where we play Trent going forwards and backwards, there is going to be times, and it weren't just Trent in the AC Milan game who was out of position, by the way, but there is going to be times where he is not going to be in that role. Hence why we need the utility man of Henderson. But when it comes to one-on-one defending, in the main, honestly, Trent is not as bad as you maybe suggest. And again, I believe people only jump on that train because it's a very popular train to leap on, and that's okay.
As a last point, just so we can understand and get a bit of middle ground. For me personally, I think Trent is a 9 out of 10 when he's going forward in terms of what he's asked to do. But in terms of his being a defender, I think he's a 4 out of 10. Tell me what you think numbers wise, because that's why I think
numbers wise, defensively, I think Trent does make mistakes, and therefore that has to lower the rating for me. But in the main, he's a good defender. So if you want me to put a number on it, I'll give you a 7. Going forward, 9.5. All right, maybe a 6. Maybe a 6. But he's at least a 6. He's at least a 6 for me, and that's actually not me waffling, to be fair. 7 was maybe a little bit ambitious, but a 6, 100%. And going forward, there's no one better. So that's my opinion. When you talk about the best right backs in the world, I think Trent and Hakimi are in that conversation, and Reece James is getting there ever so slightly. Kyle Walker's too clumsy for me. He makes a lot. He makes mistakes, probably actually just as much, if not more, than Trent. People just don't talk about it when it comes to causing fouls. You say he makes up for them, but so does Trent. I can just say that about Trent, can't I? You get what I mean? I can say, well, he plays more, boss. Out of 10 games, he plays 9 good 8 games, and then he might make one mistake.
Great chat there, gentlemen. Great chat. The view, literally, I've never seen the live chat so split. It's literally half and half on that, and that's
because Daniel's very great at making his points. Daniel, your competition for me, my mate, he's done a great job there. Well done.
Mr. Dare I Say It Drift says people talk about how Trent is a system right back, but if you're James with 3 centre backs and 2 CDMs, doesn't that also make it easier for him not to get exposed like Trent?
Of course it does. And last season, when Trent was getting most exposed, that was when he didn't have the teammates around him. Kyle Walker, another very similar situation. You know, it's like saying put Messi with Accrington Stanley and then still expect him to get the same results. He still needs good players around him. Do you know what I mean? But it's about what you do in a good system.
I think where it is that, for me, Trent, there's a lot of protection. You know that guy in your batch in secondary James and Kyle Walker. I disagree. I think Reece James stands alone in terms of where you can put Reece James in a situation.
He's got 1v1
with a lot of you could say that, but I've seen him 1v1 against some of the best wingers in the Premier League.
I've saw Trent against the best wingers of the Premier League. He's done well against the majority. It's more glorified when he does make a mistake.
You say that, but I've seen a number of occasions where I've seen wingers be able to go at Trent. It's no coincidence that when Liverpool weren't in their pomp, Trent was the one being targeted. The fact that you're right back,
he still gets targeted now because it's easy. Because Robbo is a better defender, but that is why you talk about Robbo's the best in the world in his position.
Now he's got a big brother though behind him in Van Dijk or Matip, who's able.
And Reece James has got 3.
That's what you think.
Listen, guys, it's a great debate, and I could probably go on for another 15 to 20 minutes. Any other questions you've got, get your super chats or member comments in, and we will pose it to the panel. We're not going to talk Ollie out tonight. It was around there. It's been trending all day today. I don't know if it needs to be dragged over the coals again. We all know about Ollie. It is that. I assume, James, by the way, then, we haven't actually spoke. I've seen some of your streams, so I think I've seen you say this, but I want to double check. Are you making Liverpool favourites to win the league this year? Like, is that what you think?
Right, so here's my thing. If you'd asked me at the start of the season, I would have went with Chelsea. But I've saw how we play, and we've got a very 18-19 feel to our style of play. Yes, of course, there's still openings in the team, but in the main, we're the better team. Even Chelsea, I thought we were the better side in that game. Every other game since and before then, I thought we were the better team in them games. And on top of that, I think we've probably got the best, if not top 2 best attacks in the league. I believe we've got the best, if not the 2 best defence in the league, and then the best midfield in the league as well, with Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho. In my opinion, I believe when you put all that together, On top of Alisson as well, mate. Yeah, of course we can win the league. Do you know what I love, Teddy? I love the fact that everyone sleeps on Liverpool because they do. You know what I mean? They don't put us in the conversation with Man City and Chelsea this season. It's only now after a few games some people are starting to give us a little bit more respect, and that's boss. Because you want me to tell you something, Teddy? We thrive as the underdogs, and people might just say, James, you're chatting shit again. And maybe I am. But I can only go off the evidence based on what I've seen under Jurgen Klopp, what I've seen these players achieve, and it's amazingness when there's not. And the thing is, we've got something to prove. Chelsea, they've just won the Champions League. Man City, they've just won the Premier League. We have actually got something massive to prove. And our team is reassembled. Therefore, the hunger is right there. What's the number one issue when a side plays for too long with each other? It's the fact there's no hunger. There's nothing really there anymore because you've already won it all. Well, now we've had a season where everyone was broken apart and everyone's coming back from their holidays. Therefore, I'm expecting us to achieve great things this season. Whether that's the league or the Champions League, I believe we'll get one of them.
Wow.
God, I love the confidence of Liverpool fans. It's insane.
But the thing is, though, there's not Liverpool fans confident like me, and I can back up what I say. People put me in a category.
Have you ever met
the
Sonny?
Thing is, Sonny's very different to me. He's very, very different. Even when we win, he seems to be upset. So don't be putting me in the same category as Sonny. Even though he should big up himself. Either way, I'm backing up everything I'm saying. I'm choosing to go with this decision based off of really, really good dominant performances.
Can I
it's
just
not
ask
like
you
I'm
a
just
question?
doing it off and on.
When you say best defense, best midfield, best attack, are you talking your best 11?
Yes.
Right, okay, so you're up. Okay.
Yeah, and I believe people want to touch on squad depth. That could be the thing that overshadows Liverpool this season. I believe squad depth will get you over the line for a League Cup and an FA Cup. Hence why I think FSG have massively fucked up while having Klopp as your manager and not giving them two good 11s like a Chelsea or like a Manchester City.
I agree.
But to win a league title, we're not going to get the same amount of injuries that we got last season because no one ever got that amount of injuries at once. No one. Let's go into the archives, boys and girls, and we'll go and find out. No one had that. I don't say book, I say book. So listen, I appreciate that you tried to do a joke there, lad, but I don't appreciate it as well.
I can do
Overall, I believe we have got the quality in our starting 11. We probably have the best starting 11. And if I believe the best starting 11 can't win the league, then there's something wrong with me.
But that's the thing. Is it just a league? Once again, a Liverpool just going for one trophy again?
And here's the difference between our owners and your owners.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have the squad. And this is why we're not going to go ahead and win a treble, in my opinion. We're not going to go ahead and win a quadruple. We're going to be winning either the Premier League or Champions League.
That's
and
fair.
we might not even win them.
That's
the way I see it.
I'd take that at Man United right now, to be honest. But there we go. Daniel, do you think Chelsea can play with a back four? If so, who's your best back four? You're on mute, brother.
Yeah, we can play with a back four. Best back four is Reece James, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, and Chilwell, if everyone's playing at their best.
Rudiger was never great in a back four, would you suggest, Daniel?
I disagree. I'd say Rudiger didn't play well in a back four under Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard was a huge hindrance. I love the guy, love the player, but I think as a manager, job came too early, and a lot of players looked worse under him. I think the same thing goes with Man United and their squad. I think you put a world-class manager with that Man United squad, they're a scary team.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying, everybody. Listen, it's been a great show tonight, fiery. So normally we touch on 3 or 4 subjects, but obviously we had 2 big previews to do tonight. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in. A big shout out to our title sponsors, Bet Victor, for helping us put on this show. Make sure you get signed up to your accounts now, ladies and gentlemen. That offer is still available. All the links are below. But what I would like to know is how many of you are going to back my special. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there is another little bet that's on there right now that I've had added. This come from us here. Look at this here. Chelsea. How many Chelsea fans are confident? You see it right there. Chelsea to remain unbeaten. We've got it put in for you at 33 to 1. We've had it put in 30 in the Prem. Just in the Prem, it says 33 to 1.
That's low. I know.
That's where it's marked up at. 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 Do you know what I mean? Having said that, you got to look at it this way. I'm defending Arsenal here. A lot of people have said that getting 100 points is much harder than going unbeaten because you can draw lots of games. That's why getting over 100 points is like 250 to 1. It's a harder achievement. So
I hear that because you could draw every game.
Well, Chelsea could go unbeaten. Chelsea, yeah. So they have to be very careful when they're pricing that up because like they give you 250 to 1 and Chelsea end up going unbeaten but draw like 15 games and come fifth. Like they're never gonna do that. They're never gonna do it. So 33 to 1 viewers. If you fancy putting that on, all the links are in the description below. Jess, brilliant as ever. Patrick, see you at the studio tomorrow, my man. Bring that fire because there's a gal's gonna be in the studio tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Gal is there. Devo. Old school Terrace alumni that will know Devo and Adam Charles are back tomorrow, back in Arsenal. We've got Tans, Eleanor, Patrick there, back in Tottenham. Of course, Daniel's going to be repping Chelsea for us. We've got to find someone to back City right now. We haven't got anybody. We're going to get that done. Daniel and Daps, thank you as ever for coming on. And James, thank you for being our special guest tonight. Absolutely killing it as ever.
Thank you.
Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Smash the like button before you leave. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.